Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
Sanders' idea, in human society, should be scolded as human rape, antibone, worse than pigs and dogs, but he doesn't care, because he was just an ordinary new human, at the beginning at that time, who cared about him when they were forced to die, to face the tide of rats, and to face the wolves, who cared about their feelings. Even their family members were held in the hands of those powerful people as bargaining chips, so Sander never felt that he did something wrong. He would work hard for whoever was nice to him. What was wrong with that? The Wolf King gave him hope in life, gave him everything he had never enjoyed before, and even promoted him all the way to his current status. So he just wanted to work for the Wolf King and the Wolf Pack. Facing the orders of the Wolf King, he has always obeyed unconditionally. As long as the orders of the Wolf King are directed, Sander will go forward. During the migration of the wolves at this time passed quickly, and 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. The wolves also returned to the territory of the wolves in the south. This place is no longer shrouded by the polar night, and has already entered the alternation of day and night. It took 2 days for the wolves to migrate back from the land of adventures. This migration speed is very slow for the wolves. The food, at the speed of the wolves' migration, would not take more than 10 hours at all. After returning, all the wolves, under the leadership of the second wolf and the alpha wolf, searched for a place to rest in an orderly manner. Su Lin, Sander and Xiao Hui and others also came to the mountain where the wolves will live for a long time. This mountain is the same as Xiaohua's description. The surrounding cliffs are towering, very dangerous, and the mountain is about 1,000 meters high, the highest in a radius of 300 or 400 miles for such a steep terrain. It is indeed possible. Beware of alien species of more than a dozen levels, even if they are of level 20. It is difficult for those who are not good at climbing to go up. For such a steep mountain, Sander has already sent his human beings to measure it, thinking about how to build a future residence for the Wolf King and the wolves. Su Lin also briefly explained, and signaled Sander to let his human beings simply clean up the top of the mountain, and then find out for the elite of the wolves a temporary place to live. In Sander's respectful reply, Su Lin didn't stay here too much. He howled, and brought Xiao Wei, wolf sister, cousin, wolf father and wolf mom. Wait, I'm going to go back to the cave where I and my wolf father and mother wolf used to have a look. Returning to the old place, naturally we have to go around the place we used to stay, and we have to remark and delineate the territory. Little Gray, Wolf my younger sister, cousin, Wolf father, Wolf mother, and Su Lin have all lived in this territory for a long time before, and I still have a deep sense of familiarity and intimacy with this territory. So when I heard the Wolf King's low howl, everyone did they put down their current affairs and rush over. Surin and them patrolled along the way, leaving some marks. In the past, the wolves were marked with excrement. However, what Surin left behind were marks of spiritual power. These marks can better deter foreign species that want to invade. Even after the rest of the members evolve into alien species, they spread through breath and use the remaining breath as a mark. Only Xiao Hui, who is a fool, is still marked by the old way of excrement. The scourge is not serious. Even the shrubs have been eaten up, and after almost 2 years, some new plants have grown one after another. However, the temperature and humidity of this territory are higher than those of the ice sheet. The area is livable. It would take a year or two for the shrubs to return to their previous numbers. Su Lin expanded the former Wolf Pack territory to an area with a radius of 500 miles, including all the nearby land. It is also close to the Arctic border. An area of about 100,000 square kilometers has become the territory completely ruled by the wolves under Su Lin's command, which is more than 3 times larger than the previous territory. After demarcating and inspecting the territory, I also went to the cave where the wolf father and mother wolf are located. Along the way, I found that the cave where the wolf father and wolf mother lived had long since been inhabited by species, and shrubs and grass grew everywhere at the entrance of the cave. Stones and wind and snow almost piled up half of the entrance of the cave. Father wolf and mother wolf also howled twice when they looked at the cave where they lived for a long time. There were some memories in the howling. It's just that this little the cave is obviously no longer suitable for wolf dad and wolf mother to live in, but it can be used as waste, and it is still possible to store food for the wolves. In this way of thinking, Su Lin explained to Xiao Hui, indicates that he will let the elite wolf clan under his command come here to clean up briefly. Next, Su Lin took them again, and returned to the cave of the wolf pack where he once stayed. The place where the little wolf pack he led was much better than the cave where the wolf father and mother were. After all, this cave is halfway there. On the mountainside, the mountain road is steep, and ordinary species can't go up at all. The wind, Snow and rocks can't accumulate in the cave on the mountainside. Even when the horrible rat wave was born, they never paid attention to this place. Even this cave is far more spacious than the cave where the wolf father and wolf mother are. For Su Lin, who is more than 30 meters long, he only needs to lower his head slightly to escape the wind and cold in the cave. Such a cave, even for the current wolves, is a good place to live. And back to the cave, Su Lin's sensitive mental fluctuations also sensed the black plant he had transplanted in the back mountain. The wave of different flowers of Gungalan and several iceberg lotuses he moved, and came to the back mountain. Even if he didn't use full speed, there were still bursts of sonic booms, and the huge wolf's body also rolled up a violent gust of wind, which shattered the surrounding area. The stones were scattered and splashed in the strong wind. Su Lin also quickly came to Gungalan. Now Gungalan has been completely reborn, compared to when he left the wolf pack's territory. The Gungalan, which was originally only 2 meters in size, is now rooted in the crevices of the rocks, and has grown to a full 20 meters. Countless crystal clear black fruits hang on the branches and leaves, which contain the pure and surging energy. Just to avoid being discovered by other hunters, this pure and surging energy is very restrained. Even the purple-black rhizomes and branches of Gungalan have become as black as ink. It also has countless dense textures. Against the backdrop of the huge black rhizomes and dense textures, the whole body of Gungalan exudes mystery and nobility. It's just that now, when it sees the former wolf king reappearing in front of its eyes, it also shakes its branches and leaves rustling. Su Lin knows its excitement from Gungalan's mental fluctuations, but to be honest, for Gungalan, he still has some debts. After all, when he transplanted Gungalan, he agreed with the wolves to protect his safety. It's just that even Su Lin didn't expect that when he went out to conquer the land of adventure. It's been 3 years since I went there. The polar day and the polar night have experienced several reincarnations, but obviously, Gungalan didn't care too much about the excited mental fluctuations, and shed many crystal clear fruits from the branches and leaves, and dragged it to the Wolf King with branches. The energy contained in these fruits and the fruits a few years ago have long been different. Surin accepted these fruits because the wolves have returned now. The security guard for Gungalan will naturally continue, and if it is forcibly rejected, I am afraid that this Gungalan may feel that he will directly swallow it whole. In the cruel nature, this is in this way. The weak eat the strong. In many cases the strong kill the weak without any high-sounding reasons at all. So accepting these fruits, the Gungalan can continue to grow with peace of mind. After accepting these fruits, Su Lin also thought about it. Under the introduction of Gungalan species, Gungalan, different flowers, level 9, life status, survival. For the level of Gungalan, Surin expected level 29, which is considered a very powerful existence among wolves. No way, not to mention, in many cases, even the growth speed of different species, and new species has to bow down in front of these exotic flowers and plants. In terms of absorbing the mysterious power and pure energy between heaven and earth, exotic flowers and plants are the real favorites at this time. Su Lin looked away after checking it. A mental wave flashed, and he was slightly relieved at Gungalan. The mysterious mental wave was the first time that Su Lin was on Gungalan. Lan showed in front of Lan that this directly blew up the fluctuations in the depths of his soul, and it also made him a little bit in awe of the Wolf King again. At the same time, he asked Gungalan if he would move to the new place where the wolves lived, but knowing from the shaking of the branches and leaves of Gungalan, its rhizome has penetrated deep into the mountain, and it can no longer migrate as before. This made Su Lin have to give up, but decided to place a cannon here in the future the wolves who are good at fighting. After all, the fruit of Gungalan contains much more pure energy than the energy fruit of the land of adventures, so it is worth sending special members to guard it. After reading Gungalan finally, Su Lin turned around and went to the gap in the back mountain to check the few iceberg lotus plants he had planted. These iceberg lotus plants have also grown up, and all of them have reached the level of 20th level. The iceberg lotus that I devoured during my first genetic transformation was much larger. During the rotation of the lotus, there were also vigorous energy fluctuations overflowing, but when they were planted in Su Lin, these iceberg lotus plants were not conscious, and they did not know his existence. Feel Surin's prying now. As a result, a few iceberg lotus petals broke away from the main body in an instant, spinning and flying towards him. Such a strong sense of protection. It's interesting. 400s.com. Seeing the iceberg lotus I planted directly attacking myself, Su Lin's pale blue wolf eyes did not rise, but instead a gleam of interest rose up. His mighty mental power spewed out, like an invisible icy air, fixing this piece of iceberg lotus petals in mid-air. Su Lin's mental fluctuations, even if he didn't use even a single centenary, are not something these iceberg lotus plants can contend with. But this mental fluctuation also made the iceberg lotus feel the ultimate threat, and several petals stimulated it. They shot out, but all of them were fixed in mid-air. Still resisting. Seeing these iceberg lotuses with a strong sense of defense, Su Lin wasn't angry, but he released a trace of breath on purpose. Just this breath made the iceberg lotuses at the bottom of the gap in the back mountain dare not resist anymore, and quickly gathered their petals together, taking a defensive posture. Even the roots were tremblingly. It can be seen that this Bingshanlian can also sense this aura. Su Lin's aura is extremely powerful. Facing such a tyrannical aura, Bingshanlian did not attack recklessly again. After Bingshanlian stopped resisting, Su Lin's mental power moved again, and he took off a small half of the petals from the main body of these iceberg lotus before stopping. Even the defensive iceberg lotus could not resist the forcible deprivation of Su Lin's mental power. These icebergs, the lotus petals, contain pure life essence, which can not only improve strength but also is not inferior to many healing talents. After taking dozens of iceberg lotus petals, Su Lin recovered his spiritual power. After these few iceberg lotuses were planted by themselves, they have grown to this point. Naturally, there are many places that can be used in the future. Su Lin will not destroy them just like this, and has a strong sense of defense, so it can be better survive. These iceberg lotus petals he took did not hurt the true origin of the iceberg lotus. At this time, he has gained a lot from Hygen Galan and several iceberg lotus plants, and he is also surrounded by. I walked around this high mountain, where I had stayed for a long time, recalling the time when I was just reborn as a wolf. After a long time, Su Lin returned again with Xiao Hui, wolf sister, wolf parent and mother wolf, the large army of wolves. As for the cave where he used to be, on the way back, Su Lin decided to let the wolf father and wolf mother lead the wolves to garrison, because the wolf father and wolf mother have a special status in Su Lin's heart, and the wolf father's body is a high-ranking wolf. He has a noble status in the wolf pack, but his strength has always been at the same level as the nighthawk, jackal, little gray, and warm bear. Can't he be like a little lone wolf and deter the entire wolf pack with his strength? This makes many members of the wolf pack eager to take the position of the wolf father as the top wolf. So returning to this former territory, it is also time for the wolf father and wolf mother to lead the wolf pack to escape from the big army. Letting the wolf father and wolf mother guard here can also play the role of guarding these rare flowers and plants. In Su Lin's thoughts, he soon returned to the wolf pack. Now all the wolves are early under the leadership of the second wolf and the first wolf. They have found their temporary living place. Due to the long journey for 2 days and 1 night, the members of each department have also started to rest very early. Only a group of female wolves are still transferring to the reserve cave supplies. The birds under the command of the Arctic Tern are still driving their prey into the designated captivity, and Sander also led hundreds of humans, who helped the Wolf King clear out the mountain, and temporarily arranged a place to live for the elite of the wolf pack. But now they are still lighting up the lights, gathering together, planning the blueprints for the upcoming construction together. At this time, after Su Lin came back, Sander and others came to the Wolf King to ask for instructions. After all, the defensive palace to be built in the future is first of all for the Wolf King to live comfortably. While asking for instructions, time passed quietly, time passed quickly, and it was more than a month in a flash. During this time, the wolves who migrated to this territory also ushered in the long-lost day and night. Yes, day and night. This is against common sense among other wolves, because wolves are a group of hunters who are accustomed to moving at night. However, there are no hunting tasks these days, and they have been busy building and familiarizing themselves with this new territory in the territory. In the midst of being busy, Sander went out to the human society again, and took hundreds of human beings under his command, and the flesh and blood, wings, claws and bones of the Thunder Skyhawk, and carried out another material purchase. Now human social turmoil, many rich and powerful people, and even some new human powerhouses are busy, cashing in and fleeing, so carbon blocks, special steel and other materials have begun to drop in price, and about pure energy items like this are increasing in price crazily. After all, no matter where you go, after the world has changed, things in flesh and blood that contain pure energy have long become hard currencies, stronger than currencies such as US dollars and gold countless times. So Sander used the materials he brought to exchange a large amount of building materials mixed with carbon block elements, directly from a large material warehouse. This building material is extremely tough. If you use this building material to build palaces and defenses, fortifications, even the latest armor-piercing projectiles, and laser weapons equipped in the 7th-generation fighter planes cannot be crushed. After secretly returning these materials, Sander has gradually built a defensive palace on the mountain for more than a month. In general, it is easy to live in. Now not only is the technology and machinery more developed than before, but also Sander has a large number of humans, and there are a lot of new humans, so it doesn't take much time to build the palace. Even if the palace is built in a place like Shanghu, it still doesn't take too long. The walls of this magnificent defensive palace are nearly 100 meters high. The firepower air defense point. The palaces used to live inside the city walls are also built according to the living habits of various species. The Wolf King lives in the most prominent middle hall, Red Tail, Xiao Wei, Nighthawk, Xiao Bai, Cousin, Arctic Yanu and other wolves are located next to the Wolf King. Compared with the caves of the previous wolves, this palace is a place for the Wolf King and the wolf pack. The first wolf has added more privacy. As for the other second wolves, they are not treated so well. They still live together in groups of 2s and 3s. In addition, Sander has strengthened again for the Shanghu area. The whole Shanghu, the surrounding cliffs were once again paved with a layer of smooth carbon block material. This material not only made the mountain more solid, but also smoother. Except for a small path hewn by machinery in the middle of the mountain, the rest of the species wanted to get it from other people. Talking in the direction of the wolves is equivalent to going up to the blue sky. Without air supremacy, it is difficult for even a 20-level heterogeneous species to come up. This makes the safety of the wolves' elite living in the cave greatly increased. At this time, in addition to the defensive palace on the mountain, in the newly designated wolf pack territory of more than 100,000 square kilometers, after discussing with the Wolf King, Sander and the Wolf King also designated more than 80 permanent defensive fortifications. Most of these defensive fortifications are defended and lived by subordinate humans. The other half is to send members of the rest of the wolves to garrison. These defensive fortifications are also chosen in very steep terrain. Pay some price to capture this defensive fortification. In the entire wolf pack, all ministries are still under construction in full swing. The wolf pack is building. If this was before the great change of the world, it would be something that would break the sky, and no one would believe it. But after the great change of the world, such a scene may be photographed by some desperate human reporters and posted on the internet. It will not cause too much restlessness because after the great change of the world, the strange events that happened have already refreshed people's 3 views and tolerance. Don't think it's too shocking? There are even mutated creatures that can speak human words, such as the giant human skin tree in the tropical rainforest. It's just that even if many mutated creatures can speak out, they probably won't express it, because there is deep repulsion and hostility among different races. For the languages of other races, they don't even bother to use them. Communication. In addition, during the period when the wolves were building, Su Lin also broke through the first level again by eating the black square seal fragments. He reached level 26, and his overall strength has also improved a big step. Name, Su Lin. Species new, Howling Moon Silver Wolf. Gene level, E. Level 6. Upin.com. Upgrade needs, 0000. Evolutionary essence. Vitality, 9100. Stamina, 890. Strength, 950. Defense, 810. Speed, 210. Essence of evolution. Tao. Talent, concealment, level B. Judgment, level S. Hunting, level S. Healing, level S. Serious Xiao, level S. Light Asylum, level S+. Secret technique, surprise. At this time, Su Lin had a thought, called up his current numerical attributes, and took a look again. The extra attribute points brought by his advancement to level 6 were naturally added to the speed. This made Surin's speed break through the 3000 barrier. The current peak speed, even if the talent and the original power are not used, has a speed of 1400 meters per second. This speed is 4 times the supersonic speed, and it can move almost 3 miles per second. Can run wildly for a small distance of 200 miles. Such a speed can already be called a real super speed. As long as Su Lin thinks about it, it can be said that he can directly set foot from the North Pole to the South Pole in just a few hours. The world is so big, let him stare at him. After being promoted, Su Lin's wolf body has reached 300 meters, infinitely approaching the point of 40 meters. Wolf claws, fangs, hair, flesh, limbs, etc., all of which have been strengthened a lot again. Su Lin, whose strength has skyrocketed, will undoubtedly be much easier if he fights against the purple lynx before. At this time, he is standing on the observation deck of the Shanghu Palace, condescending overlooking the territory of more than 100,000 square kilometers that he has redefined at present. And Sander, who has just explained the next step of human construction under his command, is also standing in front of the Wolf King. and is explaining to the Wolf King that he is going to news and gains from human society. Sander went to human society during this time, and the supplies he brought almost included the bones, scales, claws, etc. 500 caddies of Kuang Tianying's flesh and blood were taken away, so the materials exchanged were not limited to these building materials containing carbon block elements. There are also medicines that can support the wolves for more than half a year, various technological products that the wolves need, dozens of first-rate meshes, and hundreds of second-rate meshes, the latest super-ion offensive and defensive guns, etc. These materials have once again greatly improved the overall strength of the wolves. The two guards led by Nighthawk and Xiaohui are all equipped with meshes. With the boost of meshes, they have truly become a mecha monster that can be invincible in the hunting field, and has a modern sci-fi atmosphere, and the purchased super-ion offensive and defensive guns are equipped on the firepower points of the palace walls. These super-ion offensive and defensive guns are so powerful that Sander spent a huge amount of money to purchase them, and only purchased 8 of them. Just these 8 guns cost more than 20 billion alliance coins, which shows the preciousness of the super-ion offensive and defensive guns. 8 super-ion offensive and defensive guns can easily break through the king-level mutants. The defense of creatures, even high-level king-level mutant creatures will suffer more or less trauma under the super-ion offensive and defensive guns. Therefore, these 8 super-ion offensive and defensive cannons greatly increased the defensive power of the Shengyu Palace. In addition, the most important thing is that Sander also purchased millions of tons of grain reserves during his trip this time. This was specially ordered by the Wolf King. Millions of tons of grain reserves. Siberia, which has been impacted, is still very precious. Such a large-scale purchase has caused the price of grain and meat in Siberia to soar all the way. Millions of tons of grain reserves are stored in batches in 2 caves. That cave, the interior was hollowed out by Sander using mountain tools, and covered with moisture-proof materials. As for the alien flesh and energy fruits brought back by the wolves from the land of adventures, they are stored in the 3rd cave. The wolves guarded it by themselves. With so much stored food, it can be said that even if the wolves did not go out to hunt, they could last for several years or even 10 years. Sander didn't understand why the Wolf King had to store so much food, but he didn't ask any questions, just reported respectfully. And Su Lin didn't say much to Sander, because with Sander's perception, they can't perceive that the mysterious power between the heavens and the earth is dissipating fast. Now the whole world still looks like a battlefield between mutant creatures and humans, but it can be a few months at least, or more. Then in a year or 2, it will become a bloody field, where all species will be completely killed. At that time, it will be much more difficult to hunt enough prey for the wolves to survive than it is now. On the contrary, it is better to reserve enough food now. Build walls high and accumulate food widely. No matter when, it is wisest to be prepared and plan for a rainy day. In addition to Red Tail, Charm Fox, Jackal and Arctic Tern in the pack of wolves, the strengths of other sub-levels like Little Grey, Nighthawk, Wolf Girl, Falcon, Ice Bear, Little White, and Warm Bear are also strong, more or less improved. Ice Bear broke through to level 24, and it took more than a year to break through 2 levels. This speed is too slow compared to Red Tail and Little Lone Wolf. Ice Bear, his strength has completely fallen out of the top echelon of the wolf pack, and he still only has the 2 talents of defense and blood rage. Xiao Hua's strength has finally broken through to level 0 in this long period of time. As a heterogeneous species before the great change of the world, Xiaohua's potential is not inferior to all other species. It's just that his personality is too naive, and he doesn't have the murderous and ferocious nature of my invincible little lone wolf in his bones. Even after going through a lot of bloody killings, it is still the same. Without such a character, nor perseverance, it will naturally lag behind the little lone wolf in breaking free from the genetic shackles in the body. So for Xiaohui, Su Lin has already seen it. As the leader of the wolf clan, who guards him, he can just follow him. Relatively speaking, Nighthawk's growth potential is worse than that of Xiaohui, but he is not lacking in ferocity and murder, breaking through to the late stage of level 9, not far from level 20. Xiaobai, Wolf Girl, and G Falcon all reached the middle and late stages of level 18. Another thing that caught Su Lin's eyes was when Xiong Cuscuta is parasitic on Wengsong, and Su Lin's powerful senses have detected that Cuscuta has also evolved again these days, and has successfully promoted to a new species. It can be seen that Cuscuta is stronger than the Arctic Tern in terms of genetic background and strength. Now if the daughter comes out of the Warm Bear, only Selin and the invincible tiger can suppress the entire wolf packet, and Wengsong naturally received a lot of blessings when daughter was promoted to a new species. During this period of time, he went up several levels in one go, directly reaching level 23, and awakened a new talent Jij. The time it takes to suspend Su Lin is very small, and it needs to be calculated in milliseconds, but such a talent is still very useful if the same level of aliens are killed. In addition, after the evolution of Cuscuta weeds into a new species, it also split into 3 roots again, new branches, as a reward for the wolves. After all, when they parasitized warm bears, daughter promised to give the wolves a branch every once in a while as a reward for parasitism. These 3 daughter branches, each they are all more than 10 meters long, and Su Lin regards them as his exclusive food. Nowadays, the black square seal fragments, the different grass daughter branches, that have evolved into new species, the flesh and blood of the wild thunder eagle, and the flesh and blood of the alien killer whale, can all be given to him. He provided a large amount of evolutionary value. During this period of time, Surin, the evolutionary value is also accumulating rapidly. During this time, except for Surin and the top alien species of the wolf pack, their strength has been more or less improved. The whole pack of wolves also began to skyrocket once again in the reward of this large-scale alien flesh and blood. Many members of the wolf pack's various ministries have long coveted the alien flesh and blood. After all, this is almost a big 4 half a year. The wolves did not engage in large-scale battles, and naturally they did not distribute flesh and blood on a large scale. This distribution of food not only relieved the gluttons of the past half a year, but also caused many members to evolve into alien races have been eliminated. The various tribes of the wolf pack have new births of new species almost every day. Even the bear clan, which is the most difficult to be promoted to become a different species, has added 3 new ones after going through multiple rounds of feeding on the flesh and blood of the different species polar bears. The Arctic fox family, 2 new little Arctic silver foxes have been added. The new species of the rest of the wolves are all 3 digits. The increase in the species also makes the power of the wolves more and more important. Therefore, with the rapid increase in the power and strength of the wolves, and with the completion of defensive palaces and fortifications, the negotiation that Su Lin learned about more than a month ago has finally come. When the candidates who came to negotiate had just stepped into the North Pole, there was a monitoring group of Asuka who sent back news. The negotiators were temporarily stationed on the border of the Arctic and waited, and learned from the news sent back by the Asuka family. The people who came to negotiate this time are very stable. After seeing the defensive fortifications of the wolves everywhere and the Arctic foxes and birds watching and monitoring them from afar, they stopped their progress. They sent an expert, who was proficient in animal body movements and language, handed over the document to a different species of bird, telling him to negotiate peace with the Wolf King. At the same time, the document also indicated the identity of the other party, and the detailed intention of coming, and the lines are very sincere. But Sulin didn't go. He just told Sander and Wen to go to any one of these humans to negotiate. No matter how you negotiate, the interests of the wolves must be guaranteed. After explaining to the 2 of them, it was Vincent himself who asked for his order to negotiate with these humans. After all, Sander still wanted to keep his identity a secret, and did not going to show up just like this. When this is the first time he has had the opportunity to represent the entire pack of wolves, which makes him very excited to slap his chest with the Wolf King again and again to promise. Next, when leading a group of alien humans, he went to contact this group of humans who came to negotiate. While sitting on a heavy tank, he looked at the column of the person's name in the document in his hand, and couldn't help but feel a slight look in his eyes set off a smile. Radian, Donald, Marshall, Heath, I never thought that the big man, who looked up to me like a mountain, would sit on the negotiating table with me today. Vincent and Sander before, both an ordinary player in the new human team, is not even as good as Sander, because Sander is at least the vice captain, and his salary is higher than him. But today he was just an ordinary person, and he has to fight with him. That Marshal Donna, who holds a heavy army and stands at the pinnacle of power, sits at the negotiating table to negotiate, and he is still on the condescending side. So Vincent felt the same as Sander when he went shopping. For the first time, he felt what power is. It's just that when, like Sander, they are all smart people, they know very well who gave them this boundless power. And at this time, on the border of the North Pole, all the temporarily stationed humans have solemn expressions. These humans all exude the aura of a strong man. Each of them has an aura of at least 10th level, and they are all wearing first-class meshes. They are even taller because of the meshes. This group of humans has hundreds of people, and hundreds of first-class mecha fighters would be an unimaginably powerful force in human society. Under the siege of hundreds of first-class mech fighters, even ordinary king-level mutant creatures have to avoid the edge. But now all these humans have solemn expressions, especially one of the mecha fighters, putting down the mask, revealing the obviously aged, wrinkled face inside. His old eyes are also full of vicissitudes and turbidity. This old man is none other than someone who holds a very high status in Great Russia. It's only inferior to Puttis Marshal Donaldson. It's just that this old marshal, who holds a heavy army in the imperial capital now, doesn't have any trace of the relaxed and freehand style in the past, and some are all solemn and dignified because he is here. The objective negotiation is the North Pole Wolf King. Needless to say, the power of the Arctic Wolf King, whether it's the killing video of the mysterious Goo King, or the vision of the 9-round silver moon, and the world-destroying combat power rating given by the Science Alliance, it all represents its boundless terror in the Arctic Wolf King, or a speed-type world-destroying beast. Speed-type. This is definitely the most difficult beast in any human force, because for speed-type beasts, whether it is cover bombing or mecha fighter hunting, it is difficult to work. This kind of beast is too fast, and once it runs at full speed, it is difficult to lock and track. It can be fought and walked, yes, their biggest advantage. Even if they lose, they turn around and run away. After hiding their breath, they will lose all traces. When they are unaware, they will kill them again, which will cause unimaginable and tragic losses. For this speed, all human forces have learned a painful lesson, not to mention the extermination level Arctic Wolf King. Even the extreme king level, or even high-level speed-type alien beasts are not a last resort. No one side will provoke it. So for the Arctic Wolf King, Donaldson has no idea at all. Even if the Arctic Wolf, I insisted on killing myself here. I even led the wolf pack under my command to kill Russia. I can't find a way to deal with it. In addition, the situation in Great Russia is already very chaotic. Once the Arctic Wolf King really wants to enter Great Russia again, I am afraid that there will be a shocking chaos in an instant. So there is only peace talks, only then can there be a glimmer of life. As long as the Arctic Wolf King is stabilized, as long as they kill all the mutated creatures in the territory, then only when the heart is stable can we say anything else. Otherwise, the heart will not be stable. But there is a trace of external. When the sparks ignite, there is a risk of subverting this empire with the most extensive land in the world. At this moment, Donaldson and his subordinates are waiting with solemn expressions, and he looks at the flying bird that is watching and observing him from a distance. Arctic fox, wolves, etc. The solemn look in his eyes became heavier. He naturally had a deep understanding of the wolves under the command of the Arctic Wolf King. Countless species, a huge number of invincible wolves. You must know that the hostility between different races is still very deep, but the Arctic Wolf King can put aside all prejudices and gather all species in the Arctic to the wolf pack without dislike. There is no one to teach. So after hearing the news, Donna was extremely shocked. This means that the Arctic Wolf King's mind and wisdom are probably beyond any he has seen before. Mutated creatures, facing such an invincible Wolf King, who needs strength, wisdom, and structure. Donaldson is even more uncertain about this negotiation. He doesn't know what price to pay to stabilize this Wolf King and his wolves. Hey, with such a well-educated Wolf King, there shouldn't be too much language barrier when negotiating, but I just hope that the price paid this time will not hurt the fundamentals of Russia. In this way of thinking, Tang Na, who is nearly 70 years old, is still standing there and waiting with a solemn expression, but in his heart, he has been weighing and calculating the price to be paid for this negotiation. Under Donaldson's measurement, a torrent of steel suddenly appeared in front of him soon, accompanied by a coercion that belonged exclusively to the king-level beast. Chirp! A clear cry of the Arctic tern resounded in the entire cold air in an instant. Arctic Yanu spreads its wings, and its body is more than 40 meters high. It can be called a behemoth in the sky. Originally, Vincent was only going to negotiate alone, but in the end, Redtail signaled the Arctic tern to accompany him to prevent humans from playing tricks. But there is no need. In the territory of wolves, these humans are self-aware, and at the speed of Su Lin, even if it is hundreds of miles away, it only takes a minute or two to arrive. But since Redtail dispatched, Su Lin didn't stop it either. After all, he had officially announced to the wolves the status of Redtail and his cousin's promotion to Queen of Wolves a few days ago. After the two big wolves, their status and prestige among the wolves was second only to Su Lin, especially Redtail. Not only his own strength is strong, but he also has a thug like the invincible tiger, and more Arctic silver foxes under his command as time goes by. Therefore, the prestige of the Red Tail is even more powerful among the other tribes of the wolf pack except the wolf clan. With an order, even Arctic Yanu, who is the leader of the Asuka clan, and has the status of the chief wolf, has to obey immediately. At this time on the border, with the entry of Vincent and the Arctic tern, Marshal Donaldson, who had obviously experienced many vicissitudes, stood there and watched respectfully. However, when he clearly saw the heavy tanks that the wolves came to negotiate with, and dozens of 6th-generation fighter jets, and hundreds of mutated birds rising in the sky, Donaldson's old eyes still couldn't help flashing a little shock again. Through various information, he learned that the wolves are educated without discrimination, and their momentum is monstrous. But it never occurred to them that this pack of wolves had already learned how to use human technological killers. Not only using human technological killers, the wolves even accepted human beings. At this moment, Donaldson felt an inexplicable sense of fear in his heart for some unknown reason. It's not the fear of the new human strong inside the heavy tank, but the fear of this wolves who are educated and disrespectful, and even treat humans as subordinates. If every mutated creature is like a bloodthirsty python, a cold-blooded megalodon, a tancha monster, etc., Donaldson wouldn't be too scared, because for this kind of mutated creature that feeds on human beings, no matter what, it will never end. And humans have already prepared Noah's Ark, which has preserved the civilization and fire of various industries of human beings. But what Donaldson is most afraid of is that some ethnic groups and mutant creatures do not directly kill humans, but convert humans into their subordinates, just like the wolves under the command of the Arctic Wolf King today. At this time, Donaldson felt the difference of this pack of wolves. The sea is open to all rivers. There is no distinction between teaching and learning. Even human beings can accept it. This kind of mind and courage really has the potential to replace human beings and become the hegemon of the world. Next, under the shock of Donaldson, hundreds of heavy tanks from the steel torrent also quickly drove to the front. After they all stopped slowly on the Arctic border, a tall human being with a figure of 4 meters walked out from inside. During this period of time, when Sen had already advanced to level 14 by leaps and bounds by relying on the flesh and blood of the Thunder Sky Eagle rewarded by the Wolf King, when Sen, who is at level 14, can be considered a strong one among humans, and his strength is only stronger than the group of first-class mech fighters led by Donaldson. As soon as they got down, the eyes of Vincent and Donaldson were intertwined. Even though Donaldson didn't welcome the Wolf King, who shocked the entire North Pole, he looked at the obviously young human in front of him, and he didn't despise him at all. But at this time, when Donaldson and the wolves were about to start negotiations, something far bigger than the Arctic negotiations happened in human society. During this period of time, countless new human powerhouses and top people from all walks of life fled to Jerusalem one after another, and the strength of Jerusalem expanded to an unimaginable level. Jerusalem once again showed its sharp fangs to the major forces in the world. An ultimatum was once again issued to the hands of major human forces. One of the small countries has always believed in science. In order to prevent people from all walks of life from being shaken, this ultimatum was directly torn up after receiving it. But something happened that no one expected. The speedy golden wither, which ranked 5th on the latest list of mutated creatures, spread its wings in the sky and came to the sky above the capital of this small country. The wings soared to more than 200 meters in an instant, and brought out endless gusts of wind under the sweep, destroying countless high-rise buildings. On this day, an unknown number of people were brutally massacred by the Godspeed Jin Yao, until the capital was in ruins, and blood flowed like rivers. And the whole family of the supreme ruler, who tore up the documents, all young and old, were roasted to death under the huge cross in the capital square after being swallowed up by the rapid fire. The highest authority was thrown to death on the cross by being torn apart, and this bloody massacre was intentionally live broadcasted and uploaded to the internet by the members of the Theological Alliance. This has caused an uproar on the internet. This is a violent public opinion storm than ever before. Whether it is high-ranking officials, nobles, powerful celebrities, ordinary citizens, etc., everyone was shocked by this video. There are even many people who were slaughtered thousands of miles away by the rapid gold withering blood in the video, directly destroying the country, and were so frightened that they couldn't breathe. They all doubted the authenticity of this video. This storm of public opinion quickly swept through the internet, and after this small country was destroyed, the Theological Alliance also occupied its territory, and the only remaining people, and publicly declared that it became a people under the rule of the Theological Alliance. This made all human forces shake. Even if it was just a small country, with tens of millions of people, it was destroyed in less than a day, which still shows the weight of the ultimatum issued by the Theological Alliance in Jerusalem. Especially the speedy golden wither, after disappearing for a long time, the strength shown for the first time made everyone horrified. Those people on the internet who originally thought that the speed of the gold has completely declined, and that they are not qualified to be ranked 5th have already kept silent about their previous remarks. The speedy gold wither is still the original speedy gold wither, even if it is alone, without any ethnic group. Its threat to human beings is still no less than any mutant creature at the level of extermination. Even the Science Alliance placed it at the top of the list of world-killing mutated creatures. The ones that can surpass the speedy golden with her on the list of mutated creatures danger indexes are all existences of high-ranking extermination level. From this, it can be seen that the speedy golden wither is powerful. Nowadays, public opinion on the internet is boiling to the extreme, and the video of the rapid gold withering country is spreading rapidly in all countries. What's the situation? Ziboli was wiped out in less than a few hours. The rapid gold withering is too scary. What is the situation? If the theological alliance is like this, those who follow me prosper, and those who oppose me perish, can it still be called a theological alliance? I think it's not an exaggeration to call it a cult. Ziboli, that is also a country with tens of millions of people and millions of troops. The country was destroyed in a short period of time. Isn't this speedy golden wither too terrifying? Is it really just an ordinary world-destroying level? It's too terrifying. Is this the real combat power of a world-destroying mutant creature? It can easily destroy a country. It seems that the speed of Jinzuo has really been included in the theological alliance. With such a world-destroying monster as a guardian, why do the other major forces really want to confront the theological alliance? Where are we humans going to go? A world-destroying beast can slaughter a country for thousands of miles. Do we really have to persist until the end? Public opinion is everywhere on the internet. The video of the speedy gold withering symbol is still spreading rapidly. In just a few hours, it has been spread on the internet of all major forces. The popularity of the video of destroying the country will overwhelm the popularity of the 3 lists released by the Science Alliance some time ago. Many people feel even more confused about the future. There are terrifying mutated creatures and terrifying ethnic groups in front of them, and they want to compete with humans for the position of world hegemony. Nowadays, there are even more disagreements among human beings, and a theological alliance has been split, and it is still a theological alliance, with a world-destroying alien beast guardian. So in such an environment, no one knows how to go forward. It's just that most human beings still don't want to join the theological alliance. On the one hand, the style of the theological alliance is too religious, and on the other hand, it is too difficult for human beings to change their solidified views after they have believed in science for so many years. Science comes first. Science is the source of power in modern society. Science is the most critical factor that supports them to go through the years after the great changes in the world. They have long been accustomed to believe in science. So many people are making confused and overwhelmed remarks on the internet. In addition, this video of destroying the country not only caused an uproar on the internet, but also caused the power holders of all major forces to feel the shock like thunder. The top level has always been as calm as water, and they, who are known as the chess players, finally feel the deadly threat because of the video of the massacre of the country by the speedy gold. Let them know that this is no longer the life of the soldiers under his command, and it is no longer something that can be blocked and countered by technological killers. They, who were the least likely to submit to the theological alliance, were shaken in their hearts. It is true that they are more and more high-ranking, and many times they not only represent themselves, but also represent the family behind them, and represent all kinds of intertwined forces behind them. Until the last moment, no one wants to be crucified to pieces like in the video. After the video of the golden withered country was spread on the internet, the internal turmoil of the major forces became even more violent. At this time, in the capital of our country, Pudi, who has always dealt with mutant creatures with a tough side, watched this video that spread rapidly, and his eyes were filled with uncontrollable shock. These mutated creatures are evolving too fast, and the influence of this weird theological alliance is getting bigger and bigger. So Pudi, who had been shocked for a long time, finally said to his side, Head Marshal Donaldson, as long as the demands of the Arctic white wolf are not excessive, we can satisfy them. Yes, the attendant said respectfully. Pudi knew that in order to deal with such a chaotic situation, it was necessary to unite all forces that could be united. In addition, after being silent for a long time, he said again, by the way, tell the Science Alliance to start genetic modification, and I will send in the first batch of new human powerhouses. This word is spoken, even with its longest entourage. A look of incomparable horror flashed in his eyes. At the same time, not only me, but the other 5 strongest human forces have all sent new human powerhouses under their command to the Science Union, and the major forces are exchanging information, and decided to hold the 4th Human Alliance meeting again. This meeting of the Human Alliance will determine the direction of the future destiny of mankind. Once a wrong decision is made, I am afraid that human beings will withdraw from the stage of the Earth's overlord, so this meeting is also named the final meeting. For the sake of confidentiality, this meeting will no longer invite other small forces, nor will it invite elites from all walks of life. Only the highest rulers of the 6 strongest human forces, and the top scholars of the Science Alliance will participate. And those small forces, after seeing the video of the speedy golden withering the country, did not have the confidence to resist, and began to contact the Theological Alliance secretly. As for the smaller civil forces, they are also planning their future. For a time, the entire human society and all forces were under currents. Only the Theological Alliance in Jerusalem are still unscrupulously expanding their influence and rule. However, Donaldson, who was at the North Pole with no signal, did not know about this very sudden event in human society. Otherwise, once you know it, you will definitely be more in awe of the Arctic Wolf King, who is also a world-destroying level, because although I have known the horror of the world-extinguishing level alien beast for a long time, I only know how terrifying the world-extinguishing level alien beast is after seeing the video of a country being slaughtered. Now Donaldson is still pretending to be calm, and negotiating with Vincent on the opposite side. He didn't think that this negotiation would be concluded overnight, and he was already prepared for a protracted war in his heart. During the negotiations, Donaldson roughly understood what the Arctic Wolf King wanted. What they want is the vast land of Siberia, and what they want are the top technological resources of mankind. But in return, the wolves can help clean up the mutated creatures in the territory. Such negotiation conditions are somewhat unequal, because in Donaldson's eyes, as long as the Arctic Wolf King does not act, and the wolves under his command do not leave the Arctic, they can suppress and kill the mutated creatures in Great Russia by themselves. Although there is a heavy price to pay, it is better than dividing the Siberian plain after all. After all, the Siberian plain is vast, rich in products, and its area is not even much smaller than the entire Arctic ice sheet. However, the wolves trapped in the Arctic will be limited by resource geography, and cannot rapidly expand their numbers and strength. But if we really got the Great Plain of Siberia, with inexhaustible resources and various species, then it is impossible to imagine the future development of this wolves, which is inherently inclusive and inclusive. However, the negotiations did not go well. The other side didn't even plan to talk too much with him. It is a simple and clear negotiation. This made the various negotiation strategies that Donaldson had learned and mastered before lose their due effect here. He also discovered that the concepts believed by wolves and humans are indeed different, and they were killed in the bloody wind. The wolves are not used to pretending to be snakes, they are used to going straight. Even this human being who negotiated on behalf of the wolves was like this. When Sen has joined the wolf pack for more than 2 years, and he has already seen and heard that he has a strong wolf pack habit representing the wolves, he didn't give Donaldson too many opportunities at all, just talking about benefits and conditions. If even these conditions cannot be fulfilled, then the wolves didn't beg anyone to negotiate. The wolves can still look at each other like before, relying on the growing strength of the wolves to conquer vast territories one after another. At this time, under Vincent's straightforward negotiations, they reached a deadlock after just a few hours. In the end, Donaldson could only stop the negotiation with an embarrassed smile on his old face, because he still needed to ask the capital for instructions. However, during the request for instructions, Donaldson received a piece of news from the capital that made him feel a chill down his back. The country of rapid gold withering. This news does not need to read the attached video file, just from the words. You can feel the shock brought by this news in the human society. It was also from this news that Donaldson fully understood the horror of the world-destroying beast. And now, not only does the Theological Alliance have such a world-killing beast, but there is also such a world-killing Arctic Wolf King in the cold North Pole. So next, because Donaldson knew the current situation of human society, he gave up all means, including some lures and bribes, that were planned for Vincent. Now I can't stand the slightest turmoil anymore. If I use some unscrupulous means to anger this wolf pack, it will become a situation that is out of control. After inquiring about the final bottom line of the negotiation between Gudu and the wolves, he returned to the negotiating table and continued the negotiation. Time flies in the blink of an eye, and days are fleeting. In the past few days, the two sides have finally reached an agreement. After asking for instructions from the capital, Donaldson agreed to most of the wolves' requests. At the same time, the wolves will help suppress the mutant creatures in the territory of Dao. As a report, there are about 5 agreements negotiated between the two parties. The first one gives up the area more than 800 miles south from the Arctic border. This area will become the territory of wolves, but it is declared to be a coexistence area of wolves and humans. The second is to provide the wolves with 100 first-class meshes, 100 7th-generation fighter jets, and 1 million tons of food as peaceful resources. The wolves will not carry out bloody killings against humans. The third pack of wolves will clean up the mutated creatures in the territory for me. Article 4. The Self and the wolves have reached a temporary alliance, and during the alliance period they are not allowed to conquer each other, etc. Article 5. During the alliance period, when encountering a life and death crisis, you can seek shelter from wolves and wolf kings. The important clauses are these 5 clauses. Besides these 5 clauses, there are other odd clauses. These terms are intended to indicate the interests and gains and losses of both parties. To be honest, these terms made Donaldson feel a little humiliated, but he also knew in his heart that in such a turbulent era, this might be the best terms he could sign. After all, this clause also attracted a world-destroying beast and its group. This means that the self has a security guarantee that other forces can hardly match. After Donaldson signed the contract, there was no time to stay in the North Pole, so he hurried back to the big self. Because the current situation in the human world is too chaotic, he needs to go back to help deal with various things, and he can't afford to waste time here. Donaldson looked at the cold North Pole, at the various species of wolves that were still scattered in the sky and running on the land to monitor him when he left. He knew that this pack of wolves might have briefly formed an alliance with humans, but in the future, this pack of wolves is destined to become the great self and the life and death enemy of all human forces. Even Donaldson has seen an unprecedented bloody battle between human beings and this uneducated wolf pack in order to compete for the supremacy of the Earth's dominance after many years. Donaldson didn't know if he who signed this contract would become the biggest sinner of mankind in the future, but now this is the only thing that can save Russia. With such a heavy heart, Donaldson returned from the North Pole, driving the mecha and all his followers. The speed of the mecha flying in the sky may not be as fast as that of the 7th generation fighter jets, but it is still extremely fast. It didn't take long for Donaldson and his followers to return to the capital. After returning, Donaldson, with a heavy heart, took the contract and went to the Supreme Council to report without stopping for a moment. After a while, the Imperial commander in the highest conference hall also carefully read the contract many times. Many emotions flashed across his pale face, but it finally became calm again. He just nodded and affirmed Donaldson's trip to the North Pole. Okay, thank you Donaldson for your hard work. Donaldson shook his head and said with some shame, it's not hard, but I think this contract is too humiliating. The other pack of wolves is too terrifying. All species are within its expansion range. As long as they do things for the pack of wolves, even humans can absorb them. The person I came into contact with during the negotiation this time is a new human being, whose strength should not be underestimated. I am worried that this pack of wolves will become the enemy of the entire human race in the future. In addition, is the contract signed with the wolves really binding on the wolves, who are still drinking their blood? After hearing Donaldson's concerns, the Imperial commander, who was only 3 meters tall but exuded a strong power, was silent for a long time before slowly looking at the vast territory on the map and saying, I know what you mean, but Mr. Donaldson, don't blame yourself. The current situation in the world is too chaotic. No one can see where the future of mankind is. Even if you and I are in power, there is no exception. So what we can do is to take the lead in ensuring survival. Do we really want us to surrender to the Theological Alliance like those small forces? Theological Alliance is definitely not the right way. Even if we surrender, just like Mold said, how many people can the tiny place where the Theological Union is located? We have lost power. What will happen if we go there? As for the binding nature of this contract to the wolves, if the wolves abide by it, we will also abide by it. Otherwise the plane of more than 800 miles can be sent out, and it can also be destroyed. It is better to fight a bloody battle with wolves on the Siberian plain, with a signal, than to fight in the cold North Pole, without a signal. The deep words of the supreme ruler of Great Russia caused Donaldson to remain silent for a long time. He just quietly looked at the map in front of him, with a heavy and reluctant look in his eyes. Donaldson knew in his heart that no matter what the future holds, this area of more than 800 miles in the Siberian plain cannot be kept, whether it is divided into wolves or become a ruin. If it weren't for such a severe era, no one would make such a choice. And indeed, as the commander said, fighting this pack of wolves on the Siberian plains is better than fighting in the North Pole, where there is no signal. At this moment, Donaldson slowly let out a breath in silence, calming down his mood. Then, I discussed with the supreme ruler of the empire in front of me how to lead my tens of millions of soldiers and hundreds of millions of people to survive in the current chaos. Although they still have the hand of God and many whole cards hidden in the deepest part, they have never really reached the end of the mountain. But whether these things can really injure the world-destroying beasts, and how many humans can survive after using them is unknown. And this price is far greater than dividing the territory of more than 800 miles to the wolves. If they can use these 800 miles of plains in exchange for real stability, it will be very worthwhile in their eyes. At this time, in the deep conversation between Donaldson and the supreme commander of the empire in front of him, time also passed quietly. A few days later, The fourth summit meeting in the world is officially held. The number of participants this time is far less than before, and not many people even know about this meeting. Only the top leaders of the 6 most powerful forces and the top research scholars of the Science Alliance got the news, and now they are all present. There were less than 50 people present this time, and even the highest secrecy measures were taken in the conference hall. All equipment capable of recording and filming was taken away, and the entire conference room underwent several rounds of inspections. And the people present this time, any one of them outside will be like a thunderbolt, and their reputation will resound. It's just that everyone sat silently in their positions without saying a word, and they were reading and exchanging data of their respective forces. This time, under the double pressure of the Theological Alliance and mutant creatures, all the major forces have formally abandoned their previous suspicions and truly established a united front. After reading the data for a long time, the selected Science Alliance leader broke the silence and said, "I don't want to say more polite words, we are all old friends. Since the Alliance for Science is elected as the leader of this meeting, I just want to say 2 points." Speaking of this, the spokesperson for the Science Alliance paused for a moment before slowly speaking. "The first point I want to ask everyone is how to view the Theological Alliance. What strategies will be adopted to deal with the Theological Alliance in the future, and what will be adopted strategies to deal with Jerusalem, the holy land of the 3 religions. The second point is about fighting against mutated creatures. Our Science Alliance has indeed researched the latest genetic modification, which can maximize the strength of human beings, but the lifespan and wisdom will be reduced to less than 1/10 of the original. Once the genetically modified new human powerhouses are sent, it will cause a gap in the levels of the powerhouses of your various forces, so I would like to ask everyone, are you prepared for such a heavy price?" After the voice of the spokesperson of the Science League fell to the ground, Evrion's eyes were also focused on him. At this time, these people who are at the pinnacle of power, who are capable of calling the wind and rain in their respective forces, also have a touch of indelible sadness flashing across their brows when they raised their heads. It took a long time for the voice of the spokesperson of the Science Alliance in the conference hall to stand up before someone stood up. This person is the supreme ruler of the African Union, and under his leadership, human beings defeated the invincible lion group that was proudly roaring in the grassland step by step. Up to now, that group of invincible lions has long since lost its original grandeur. Only a few dozen of them are still alive. Among the major forces, his rule is the most stable and peaceful. It can be said that the African Alliance is the most successful force in dealing with mutant creatures. From the great change of the world to the present, there are thousands of mutated creatures hunted and killed. There are countless unrecorded hunts. This is also due to the African prairie, where there are countless species, with enough bases. Countless mutated creatures were born. Invincible lions, African elephants, mutated giraffes, etc., have all given the African Union too much pure flesh and blood. In addition, the African Alliance not only hunted, but also captured an unknown number of mutated creatures to raise them in captivity. Therefore, after several years, the African Alliance has become the richest force among the major forces. Under the rich supply of pure flesh and blood, the largest number of new human powerhouses has also been born. In the latest list of new human powerhouses released by the Science Alliance, the African Alliance accounts for 5/10, and the new human powerhouses of one family are equal to the sum of the rest of the forces. The strongest African Alliance powerhouse has been able to fight against king-level mutant creatures undefeated. Even an ordinary mutated king-level creature is enough to prove its unparalleled combat power. With the body of a human being, to forcibly challenge a king-level creature, such a thing that other forces dare not even imagine, actually happened in the African Alliance. Therefore, the highest authority in the African Union, who is such a powerful new human powerhouse under his command, has just stood up and attracted the attention of the audience. He said in a deep voice, "Needless to say, we naturally feel that science is the right way. When we come here, we fought bloody battles with mutant creatures, and defended the supremacy of human beings. Isn't it because of the scientific killer developed by us? So science has always been the cornerstone of human beings, and this is unshakable. In my mind, the Theological Alliance is Shia cult, which claims to protect all mankind, but who has seen the so-called theology. What is the theory of theology? So far, it is still vague, and even colluded with mutated creatures to slaughter the same race. How can such an alliance be trusted? My attitude is that anyone who joins the Theological Alliance is a traitor to mankind, and all those who join the Theological Alliance will join hands to kill them." The words of the highest authority in Africa are strong and powerful, and they hit the ground with sound. It is equivalent to directly giving everyone present a shot in the arm. However, due to the video of the rapid gold withering country that went viral on the internet a few days ago? It was really shocking. So after the words fell to the ground, someone said again, then how do we fight against the speedy gold wither? Even if we know that the speedy gold wither is in collusion with the Theological Alliance, but such a world-killing bird and alien beast, even if we are currently, how much can we compete with all the technological killers? But after this voice, the top mecha researcher of the Science Alliance said in a deep voice, the ultimate mecha above the perfect level has been successfully developed. Currently, the Science Alliance has 7 ultimate mechas, and there are 8 more than 10 perfect mechs. If they cooperate with the genetically modified new human powerhouses, and all go out to battle, then they will be able to fight against the speedy golden wither. But it was just a battle, and it was too difficult to really kill such a world-killing beast. After hearing this, everyone present looked awe-inspiring. The Science Alliance is indeed an alliance that gathers the world's top scientists, and the newly developed whole card is actually enough to check and balance the rapid gold wither. All the big figures at the pinnacle of power looked at these top experts of the Science Alliance with fiery eyes. In the future, if they can also make several ultimate armors for their forces, then their peak strength will be unprecedentedly improved. In addition, all the trump cards played by the Science Alliance, even if they can't kill the speedy golden wither, there may be hope for check and balance. After all, it's not just mutant creatures that are evolving. Why aren't human beings evolving crazily? The level of technology is also improving at a rapid pace, so no one can predict the future. As long as they don't have the power to fight back because of Bay's tragic slaughter, then all of them here will have the confidence to fight back. Immediately after the voices of the experts who studied mechs from the Science Alliance fell to the ground, countless famous and important people spoke out again. Okay, since we can check and balance the speedy golden wither, let's build a united front. We must take the lead in uniting to speak out and stabilize the heart. Agreed. In addition, regarding genetic modification, I have dispatched the strongest group of new humans under my command to the Science Union. They are a group of strong men, and now I entrust them all to you. I hope that they will not be paid in vain, except for the very potential geniuses. I will also send all the new human powerhouses under my command to the Science Alliance. Don't be afraid of faults. Now is the ultimate battle between our humans and theological alliances and mutant creatures. If my life is needed, I am obliged to. Now either everything will be suppressed and mankind will continue to stand on top of the world, or it will be defeated and withdraw from the stage of history. So I would rather future generations scold us as a group of tyrants and executioners than we really lose everything in this battle. Okay, we have a united front with the 6 major forces, and those who dare to submit to the theological alliance of the other small forces will be annexed. In addition, we also need to establish a unified coordination center. Whenever there is a situation in the future, we will communicate with each other and support each other. One loses all, one prospers. Good. Agree. I firmly believe that with our joint efforts, we will win. There are 7 or 8 billion human beings in the world, and we are the largest and strongest race. I have endured enough. Let's fight. If we humans really lose, then we will release all nuclear weapons and destroy this planet, and no one will live. In this 4th summit meeting, everyone spoke in unison, because the people who came this time were the rulers of the 6 most powerful human forces, and the top research experts of the Science Alliance, and they all stood on the opposite side of the Theological Alliance. After everyone expressed their views, they discussed the details of the united front again. Finally, after several hours, the meeting finally came to an end. The contents of this agreement are divided into 5 articles. First, the 6 most powerful forces and the Science Alliance made a joint voice to stabilize the mind and tried to minimize the negative impact of the Theology Alliance and the Speed Gold Withering Country video. In addition, it was announced to everyone that the 6 forces and the Science Alliance officially enter the offensive and defensive alliance in all aspects. Second, the new human powerhouses sent by the 6 major forces to the Science Alliance will follow the unified instructions of the Science Alliance after the genetic modification is completed, and only when they gather together can they erupt the strongest power. Third, 4 extremely lethal mutant creatures such as the swift golden wither and the bloodthirsty python. They are directly included in the red must-kill list. Now that these mutated creatures have become mortal enemies with human beings, they will not stop dying and use any means. As long as these mutated creatures are put to death, no matter it is any force or individual, they will get unprecedented resources jointly provided by major forces and the Science Alliance. Fourth, the 6 major forces smashed all solidified thresholds, and resources will be obtained based on talent in the future, and the strong will always be strong. Trying to cultivate stronger new human powerhouses in the shortest possible time, the major colleges uniformly conduct military management, conduct high-intensity training and potential development. Fifth, all the materials needed to develop mechs, the latest fighters, and the latest technological killers will be sent to the Science Alliance unconditionally, and all the top talents in their respective scientific research institutions will be sent to the Science Alliance. The Science Alliance will guarantee all materials and resources. They will be used for scientific research and will be under the joint supervision of the 6 major forces. At the same time, the genetically modified new human powerhouses and ultimate mechs will also serve as the last line of defense against mutant creatures. Once these 5 decisions are made, it means that the final meeting has come to an end. It also means that the top forces of all mankind have officially joined together. The 6 strongest human forces are united, and their army strength will exceed 150 million, and the reserve force will approach 300 million. In addition, most of the powerhouses on the new human ranking list also come from these 6 major forces. Therefore, the combination of the 6 major forces and the Science Alliance is almost equal to the alliance of all mankind. It has also officially tied the destiny of mankind together. Whether it's for the Theological Alliance or mutant creatures, it's decided to kill them all. Human beings are the overlords of the world. It was before, it is now, and it will be in the future, so they shouldn't be afraid of anything. So what if human beings alone fight against all races? If human beings no longer exist, then what is the need for this earth? Now after this meeting, everyone has no worries in their eyes, and all of them are full of fighting spirit like a raging fire. Humanity will win. This time, it was just a slogan used by the high-level officials to fool the fighters into desperation, but now it explodes in the hearts of the most powerful people in power. At this time, after this meeting, the 6 major forces in the Science Alliance all made a joint statement. In addition to thoroughly defining the Theological Alliance, they also publicly declared that the ultimatum issued by Jerusalem would be regarded as waste paper. Such a strong statement blatantly declaring war directly ignited the popularity on the internet that had already been fueled by the 3 lists of the Science Alliance and the video of the Kingdom of Withering Speed Gold. Some human beings who are at a loss, but do not want to violate their scientific beliefs for many years, can't help crying with joy after seeing this joint speech. As if in the suffocating darkness, I saw the brightest light. It should be so. We humans are the overlords of the world. Why should we be afraid of any mutated creatures? Kun Sen, who once went to bid for the flesh of the golden lemming, and later even auctioned the flesh of the thundering eagle, watched the joint speeches of the 6 most powerful forces and the Science Alliance, and felt the excitement in his body for a long time come on. Now he has never worn a mecha, and he has a height of 7 meters. It can be seen that he has a tyrannical strength. Kill, kill, kill. I have been suppressed for too long. I thought I would die in despair, but now I finally see the light. Kill. Why not kill until the blood stains the mountains and rivers? Ander, who was once the #1 new human being, Leah also let out a long breath. Ha ha ha. This is the day we've been waiting for. We human beings are the overlords of the world. After so many years of condescension and humiliation, it's time to show our fangs. Even if we die in battle, it doesn't matter. It's better than living in such a humble way. The Lord of the Small Power, like crazy, ordered to summon all the fighters under his command, ready to fight to the death with the mutated creatures in the territory. People who were still feeling hopeless and confused after the 6 major forces and the Science Alliance spoke together, they all regained their confidence and strengthened their beliefs. At this time, the public opinion on the internet is even more heated. The joint speeches of the 6 most powerful forces and the Science Alliance cheered up most of the confused people again. Even many small forces that originally planned to contact the Theological Alliance have cut off all contact with the Theological Alliance. Yes, as long as there is a glimmer of hope, no master of power wants to give up everything and become a dog for others. The masters of many small forces have even begun to dispatch troops and generals, and are already preparing to encircle and suppress the mutated creatures in the territory. As for many new human powerhouses, they also volunteered to go to the Science Alliance and exchanged the cost of a lifetime contract for the most cutting-edge technological killer of the Science Alliance. Super Ion Individual Cannon, version 2.0 of the first-class armor, can incinerate everything, has incendiary bombs with a temperature of tens of thousands of degrees Celsius, etc. As for why not buy these technology killers, it is because the price is too expensive, even for ordinary new human powerhouses. It is difficult to earn enough money to buy them after fighting for a lifetime on the frontline battlefield. As for Andrea and Kunsen's level of powerhouses, these latest technological killers have already been obtained, and now they have all rushed to the forefront to encircle and suppress these mutant creatures. Especially Andrea, who was once the strongest new human being, is about to break free from all the shackles in her body, and it is not far away from evolving into a brand new living body again. And Andrea is also a strong man with rare spiritual power. Once he goes crazy in battle, He relies on technological killers and powerful spiritual power to be no less than ordinary king-level mutant creatures. At this time, after the 6 major forces and the Science Alliance spoke together, it didn't take long for the restless world situation to stabilize quickly, and the degree of human unity is also higher than before. Everyone knows that in today's era, only human beings can work together to defend the supremacy of the Earth's overlord. For a time, all human beings devoted themselves to the work at hand with greater enthusiasm and efficiency. The major new human academies are also held to all human beings in the world, just to select the most talented seeds among them. While the human world is vigorously launching an all-round counterattack against mutant creatures in the Theological Alliance, time is also passing by in the busyness of everyone. Time flies, more than half a month. At this time, the North Pole is in extreme daylight. The bright and soft sunshine here has been hanging high in the sky. At this time, Su Lin stood at the highest point of the mountain, looking at all the areas with a radius of 800 or 900 miles. After that violent snowstorm, now he looked around, almost everywhere was white. During this period of time, the wolves completely digested the alien flesh and blood that was distributed on a large scale last time. The strength of each department of the entire wolf pack has also improved a lot compared to before. Most of the species that followed Surin at the beginning evolved into heterogeneous species. In addition, taking advantage of the rest time these days, Su Lin also carried out a rectification and investigation of all the wolves. The species with the worst potential among the wolves, who have eaten too many times and have not improved their strength, are all drawn out to form a new part. This part is responsible for guarding and patrolling the territory of wolves, replacing the work of female wolves. This group of species with the worst potential has more than 3,000 heads, including wolves, bears, birds, and Arctic foxes. After these species are drawn out, they are destined to no longer enjoy the distribution of alien flesh and blood in the future, and they are also destined to become a forgotten part. As for the number and strength of the different species in the wolf pack, there are also detailed data in the inventory. Now there are more than 2,500 male wolves in the wolf pack, and more than 1,200 heterogeneous wolves. Among them, there are about 350 heads above the 10th level, and only 3 heads above the 15th level. This is because among the former male wolves, the strongest ones, such as Fan Wolf, Broken Ear Wolf, Six-Toed Wolf, Purple Back Wolf, etc., all stayed in the land of adventures. This forced Su Lin to be the tallest among the dwarfs, and promoted 3 male wolves, who could only reach level 15 to become second wolves, temporarily leading a group of male wolves. The 3 male wolves were given the codenames Black-Striped Wolf, One-Eyed Wolf and Long-Tailed Wolf respectively. One of the male wolves is also the one with the largest number of aliens among the wolf pack, and almost half of them have evolved into aliens. As for the second part of the pack of wolves, the number of female wolves is more than 3,000, and the number of alien species can barely break the barrier of 1,000. Among them, there are 200 alien species above the 10th level, and 7 alien species above the 15th level. The 7 female wolves are Cousin, Jackal, Wolf Sister, Rabbit Ear and 3 new female wolves. These 3 newly promoted female wolves, Su Lin was also not stingy, and they were all promoted to become Yu wolves, codenamed Wenlang, Zulang, and Zilang respectively. In the third part of the pack of wolves, the bear clan led by Xiaobai, even if some of them were left in the land of adventures, many were drawn out, but there were still more than 300 bear clansmen. These bears have decent growth potential, and there is a chance to evolve into a different species in the future. Once the bear clan evolves into a different species, its strength is basically above level 15, therefore, if these 300 bears all evolve into different species, then in the future, there will be more than 300 heavy tank bears that can push everything horizontally. Now there are 9 different species in the bear clan. They are Ice Bear, Wenxiong and Xiaobai white bears, and 5 different species of polar bears that have not been given code names. The number of Arctic foxes under Red Tail, the fourth part of the wolf pack, is as high as 3,000. The Arctic fox family is nimble and agile. Even if many of them have not evolved into Arctic silver foxes, their strength has been improving all the time. Now the strength of the Arctic fox family is not weak, it's just that the Arctic fox is about the same size as the Arctic silver fox, and it seems to be restricted, and it stops growing when it reaches about 3 meters. An ordinary Arctic fox of about 3 meters has an astonishing speed, and its hair can change color independently according to the environment, and its breath can also be perfectly restrained. Even if he hadn't evolved into a different species and had no talent, it would be difficult to find out such a hidden foundation, which was enough to serve as the vanguard of the wolves' investigation. In addition, there are 6 Arctic silver foxes with spiritual power namely Redtail, Flashing Star, Moon Fox, Charm Fox, and the two little guys, who were newly promoted some time ago. Su Lin also codenamed the two little guys Yinhu and Jinjinghu respectively. The 6 Arctic silver foxes with invisible and invisible spiritual power, once they all grow up, will be a very terrifying force. The deterrent power of spiritual and soul power is not comparable to that of ordinary alien species. In addition, Maiva's growth potential against the sky also supported it to break through 2 shackles again in this month's time, and rose to level 17. With such growth potential, even Su Lin had to look sideways at him. If the Charm Fox had evolved into the Arctic Silver Fox a few years earlier, then the Charm Fox would definitely have a place at the top of the list of mutant creatures. The 5th part of the wolf pack, the bird family under the command of the Arctic Yanu, has more than 8,000 birds. The number of alien species is as high as more than 1,000. There are about 180 alien species above the 10th level, and there are more than 20 alien species above the 15th level. Among them, the ferocious falcon has reached level 22, and its combat power has long been far superior to that of the alien peregrine in the place of adventure. As the leader of the Arctic Yanu, it has evolved into a new species, and even the current invincible tiger will have a headache for it. The 6th part of the pack of wolves, the wolf pack led by Wolf Father and Mother has more than 100 wolves. Most of them have evolved into heterogeneous species. Among them, there are more than half of the xenomorphs above the 10th level, and there are also 3 of the 15th level, which are the most valiant and combative 3-second wolves, under the Wolf Father's command. Surin gave great autonomy to the pack of wolves, led by Wolf Father and Wolf Mother. Father Wolf had finally been promoted to level 20 a few days ago, and the talents of Wolf King and War Wolf, who were against the heavens, had all reached level A+, especially the group growth talent of the Wolf King. Once activated, the strength of the more than 100 wolves under his command will increase unprecedentedly. With such a talent for increasing against the sky, the wolf pack led by Wolf Father and Mother Wolf can sit back and relax as long as they don't encounter new species. With the Wolf Father and Wolf Mother guarding the former cave, Hygen Gowlin and several iceberg lotuses can also get a safer growth environment. The 7th and 8th parts of the pack of wolves are respectively the alien races led by Nighthawk and the elite wolf clan led by Xiaohui, who are the direct personal guards of Selin. These 2 personal guards are composed of all different species. Now there are more than 100 of them all, and they are all alien species above level 10. Alien species above level 15 accounted for most of them. It can be seen from this. How powerful are the 2 personal guards directly under Su Lin? These 2 personal guards are officially formed. Whether it is hunting other mutant creatures, or on the battlefield where the flames of war are raging, it can shine. In the future, as the strength becomes stronger, the role they can play will also increase. In addition, these 2 personal guards are equipped with first-class meshes developed by humans, and their strength has also increased by a huge amount. Any bodyguard dispatched out has enough strength to rival ordinary new species. The 9th part of the pack of wolves was originally a left-behind force led by the little gray wolf, but now it is guarding the land of adventure with the little lone wolf. Therefore, the 9th part was temporarily replaced by humans led by Sander, Vincent and Tiffany. The human part has a population of nearly 40,000, which is the largest part of the wolf pack. During this period of time, due to the construction of palaces and fortifications, a lot of different flesh and blood were rewarded by all the staff, and many people evolved into new human beings one after another. The number of new humans soared to more than 3,000, most of whom were incorporated into the special forces by Sander. Since most of them have just evolved into new humans, there are only more than 50 people who have reached level 10, and only 3 people who have reached level 15 or above. They are Sander, Khan, Wells. As the leader of the human race, Sander has a very good growth potential. He made great contributions to the procurement of wolves twice in a row, and was rewarded with enough pure energy. Therefore, during this period of time, Sander has been promoted to the peak level of 16, and he is only one step away from reaching level 17. Khan and Wells, also the 2 with the best potential, among the first group of Inuit who were conquered, have both reached level 15, and they are the commanders of the direct team and the special forces team respectively. As for Vincent and Tiffany, both are still at level 14. The 10th part was newly drawn out to guard the territory of the wolves. This one has extremely poor growth potential, and it already belongs to the one that was abandoned by the wolves. However, Su Lin still asked Yuhu to lead, and at the same time allocated a few alien wolves and a few wolves to Yuhu. Alien birds. After all, guarding and inspecting the territory of the wolves is also part of the daily tasks of the wolves, and Su Lin does not want any mistakes to be made. Now all the wolves of the wolf pack are added together, and the total number is more than 50,000. This is not counting the members of the little lone wolf guarding the land of adventures. Once all the wolves are fully gathered, there will be nearly 10,000 aliens, which can be said to be overwhelming. Because of the last negotiation, the wolves got more than 800 miles of plains in Siberia. So during this period of time, Surin had already dispatched some of them to the ceded Siberia. For the Siberian plain, which is rich in resources and has a wide variety of species, Surin has planned a long time ago. After all, only by occupying the Siberian plains can the wolves gain a golden period of rapid development. The 800-mile plain of Siberia is more than 800 miles directly south from the Arctic border, and it also covers a total of more than 1 million square kilometers. More than 1 million square kilometers, which is larger than the territory of many countries. The species and resources in this area are enough for the rapid development of the wolves under Surin's command for a long time. Now that the territory of Siberia has been obtained, the wolf pack's territory will be divided into three. The first piece is the land of adventure, guarded by the little lone wolf. There are aquatic plants rich in pure energy in the land of adventure, which can support tens of thousands of large herbivorous species in captivity, and produce hundreds of pieces of energy every year. The fruit is also a blessed land for the official and rapid expansion of the wolf pack. The place of adventure was regarded by Su Lin as the rear of the wolves. If in the Dark Era, the wolves really failed in their struggle for hegemony, they could retreat to the land of adventures in exchange for a chance to breathe. So during this period of time, Su Lin also asked Sander to purchase a batch of the strongest building materials to build some fortifications for the land of adventures. The second territory is naturally the territory where Su Lin is now. This territory is located in the Arctic region, the warmest and most livable area. It was only because of 2 terrifying blizzards and a terrifying rat tide that it was engulfed, which made this area lifeless. Now the large army of wolves has moved here, and more than 80 fortifications and defensive palaces on the hills have been built. This territory has become the starting point for the wolves to formally march into the world. A large army of wolves is stationed here. In the Dark Era, they can dominate the world, and they can stick to the Arctic ice sheet when they retreat. As for the third territory, it is naturally the more than 800 miles of the Siberian plain just obtained. Now Su Lin has only stationed a small part of the wolves in this territory. Among them are Vincent, Falcon, Jackal, One-Eyed Wolf and Wingsong, all with hundreds of tribes under their command. Vincent led the most humans and directly led 2 field regiments. Su Lin sent them there, on the one hand, to take the lead in finding out the species and resources in this territory of more than 800 miles in Siberia. On the other hand, it is to get in touch with human beings to see what problems have arisen within human beings during this period of time. After all, this is a plain of more than 1 million square kilometers. Even if it is a vast land and abundant resources, it is not normal to seed it so easily. Su Lin felt that during this period of time, there must have been a major problem within human beings. Otherwise, the so-called fighting nation would not have directly divided the wolves into a plain of more than 800 miles. Even if Su Lin had fought thousands of miles with the purple lynx some time ago, entered the Siberia theater all the way, and showed monstrous combat power, because several years after the great change of the world, all kinds of mutated creatures emerged one after another, but human beings are still the well-deserved overlords of the earth. It can also be seen from this point that the major forces in the human race definitely have unimaginable trump cards. Nuclear weapons, perfect level mechs, 7th generation fighters of version 2.0, super ion offensive and defensive guns, etc. These are only shown on the surface, and there are definitely real killers that have not been shown in the dark. Now even if the wolves under his command, which have nearly 10,000 alien species, start a life and death bloody battle with humans, they may not be able to take advantage of it. After all, human technology killers have been updated many times, and they are already capable of killing king-level mutant creatures, and the real top combat power among the wolves is still too rare. In this way of thinking, Su Lin also let out a low howl, signaling to his cousin to give the flesh and blood of the Thunder Skyhawk to Red Tail, Wolf Girl, Nighthawk, Arctic Yanu, Phantom Fox and other alien species with the most monstrous growth potential. Allocate some with new species. Now that the Dark Age is approaching, there must be a few more new species in the wolf pack that can deter one side. 4 Red Tail, Phantom Fox, Wolf Girl, Nighthawk, and Little Gray, which have the opportunity to grow into new species. Surin will increase the tilt of resources. As for the Arctic tern, that has transformed into a new species, Surin also hopes that it can go further on the road of the new species metamorphosis. In addition, during this period of time, Red Tail's spiritual power was completely rooted in the depths of Invincible Tiger's mind. Now as long as Hongwei thinks, he can wipe out the will of the invincible tiger with some cost. It's just that Su Lin didn't let Red Tail do this. After all, the growth potential of the invincible tiger is not inferior to any species. Looking at the entire pack of wolves, except for the charm fox, which is comparable to the invincible tiger, the rest of the species are somewhat inferior. Even Arctic tern, little lone wolf, red tail, jackal, etc. are no exception. The invincible tiger was able to evolve into a new species more than a year ago, which shows its monstrous aptitude. Therefore, a super thug, who has the potential of a monster and can grow infinitely, is far stronger than a walking dead. In addition, since being rescued by the Wolf King last time, the temper of the invincible tiger has gradually become calmer. Without the arrogance of the past, the sense of belonging to the wolves is much deeper. The Thunder Sky Eagle among the wolves originally had 50 or 60 tons of flesh and blood, but after eating for such a long time, there were only less than 10 tons left. This time only 2 tons were left as a rainy day. The rest were distributed directly to invincible tiger, red tail, charm fox, wolf girl, nighthawk, arctic tern, and little gray, etc., and distributed them all. Almost each of them was divided into thousands of caddies. Su Lin also rewarded 3 pieces of black square seal pieces to them respectively. Such a huge reward made Red Tail, Little Gray, Nighthawk and others howl and hum in excitement. As for the cousin, Su Lin also rewarded 3 Gallon fruits and 3 iceberg lotus petals. The cousin's growth potential is poor. For a girl who is rich in pure energy, the absorption and conversion rate of the flesh of the Thunder Sky Eagle and the fragments of the black square seal is too low, so it's better to eat the fruit of Gallon and the petals of iceberg lotus directly. These are the essences from exotic flowers and herbs. Relatively speaking, they are easier to absorb than the new species of flesh and black square seal fragments. Moreover, the essence of exotic flowers and herbs also has the effect of assisting the alien species to break free from the shackles in the body. Rewarding these things to the cousin is far more useful than the flesh and blood of the new species and the fragments of the black square seal. After distributing all the rewards in an orderly manner, Su Lin also returned to the Shenghu Palace again. In the past month or so, it wasn't just the wolves that had been promoted. His evolution value is also growing rapidly. He had swallowed more than 200 pieces of the black square seal fragments that originally had more than 1,000 pieces and obtained tens of thousands of evolutionary essences. And a few days ago, when Wengsong migrated to the Siberian plains with Wengsong, the Cuscuta genus that evolved into a new species, it also left a part of the main body for Su Lin. The pure energy contained in exotic flowers and plants is often much more than that of different species. The first iceberg lotus, Gallon, and daughter when it was just a different grass all clearly proved this point. Cuscuta, which has evolved into a new species, contains pure energy, plant essence, etc., which naturally far surpass the flesh and blood of golden lemmings and thunder eagles. After Su Lin returned to the palace, he took out the 3 daughter branches and a section of daughter body that was more than 6 meters long from the secret room Sander specially built for him. Although the main body of daughter is short, it exudes a strong black fluorescence. It is dozens of times more intense than the faint fluorescence emitted by the branches of Cuscuta off Isonales. After taking out the branches and main body of the weed daughter, the mysterious devouring power in Su Lin's body was also a little restless and longing. In this eagerness and restlessness, Su Lin took an evolution potion without any hesitation, waited for the coldness to spread all over the wolf's body, and then began to eat from a branch of Cuscuta weed. Cuscuta different grass has evolved into a new species, but the extreme bitter taste on this branch has not disappeared. On the contrary, it not only has a bitter taste, but also a burning sensation. This bitter taste and burning sensation cannot be offset even with the power of the source. This is obviously the evolution of Cuscuta different grass, to prevent it from being swallowed by other tyrannical species. It's just that for Su Lin, who has experienced 2 genetic transformations and countless times of enhanced serum pain, he didn't take the bitterness and burning sensation to heart. Su Lin bit off the Cuscuta branch 3 or 4 meters down in one bite, resisting the bitterness and burning sensation, chewed it twice, and swallowed the branch whole into his stomach. After swallowing into the stomach, it didn't take long for the branches of this daughter to turn into vast energy and evolution value under the force of mysterious devouring. A light gray message prompt also appeared in front of his eyes. Ding! Congratulations to the host for eating Cuscuta twigs and obtaining 210 evolutionary essences. 3 or 4 meters of daughter branches, after being devoured, provided far more than a light gray message. A series of 20 or 30 light gray message reminders flashed before Su Lin's eyes. Ding! Congratulations to the host for eating Cuscuta twigs and obtaining 209 evolutionary essences. Ding! Congratulations to the host for eating Cuscuta twigs and obtaining 208 evolutionary essences. A single section of Cuscuta twigs of 3 to 4 meters directly provided Su Lin with thousands of evolutionary essences, which made Su Lin's pale blue wolf eyes flash with a soul-stirring light. He had already thought that Cuscuta weeds, which evolved into a new species, would provide a lot of pure energy and evolutionary value, but he didn't expect it to be so much. So under the temptation of huge evolutionary value, Su Lin devoured the remaining branches of Cuscuta splendens again. No, its black blood daughter. Originally, the emerald green appearance and fluorescence of the daughter had indeed already transformed into a color like black blood. When eating, the extreme bitterness and burning spiciness also reverberated in Soren's taste buds. However, these bitterness and burning sensations are nothing compared to the pure energy surging vertically and horizontally in the body, and the hints of light gray evolution value that pop up in front of him. Soon, Su Lin completely swallowed a 10-meter-long black blood daughter branch into his stomach, obtained more than 20,000 evolutionary essences, and came to the threshold of promotion again. The wolf body was also stretched to the limit by the pure energy contained in the ink blood daughter branch. But just when the mysterious energy of evolution was about to come, the head of Surin's huge wolf suddenly emitted an extremely rich silvery silver light. At the same time, the wolf's body was surging vertically and horizontally, and the vast energy quickly rushed towards Su Lin's skull. This skull is like a siphon vortex, greedily absorbing all energy. Facing this siphon power, Su Lin was stunned at first, but soon turned into surprise, because he has encountered this situation before. Secret bones. This is the phenomenon when the secret bone is formed. All the pure energy in the body will rush towards the bones of a certain part. Once a new secret bone is formed, it means that Su Lin will obtain a brand new secret technique. The secret technique is far superior to talent in terms of power and mystery, but the process of forming the secret bone requires extremely large amounts of energy. The energy contained in one daughter branch is far from enough. Soon the pure energy surging in the body was absorbed by the skull like a whale. Lin didn't hesitate at all, and quickly ate the rest of the daughter branches. Messages of evolutionary values popped up one after another before his eyes, and the branches of the black-blooded Cuscuta were converted into huge amounts of pure energy. But this time, before the pure energy could pour into the limbs and bones, it was siphoned away by the skull. With the passage of time and the influx of a large amount of pure energy, the silver fluorescence emitted by Su Lin's skull became more and more intense, and the original bone-white color also changed to silver. In the subtle transformation of the skull, the powerful spiritual power in the sea of consciousness in the brain is also blessed. The impurities in the vigorous mental power were eliminated bit by bit. In the past few years, Su Lin had devoured the spiritual and soul power of several Arctic silver foxes in the place of adventure, and also devoured the spiritual and soul power of the thundering sky eagle. And now these black square seal fragments also contain with the spiritual soul power of the purple lynx. Therefore, although mental power is growing extremely fast, it has more or less impurities and is no longer as pure as before. Now these impurities are being eliminated. Next, it didn't take Su Lin long to eat all 3 branches of the blood-red daughter and the main body of the 6-meter-long body of the black-blooded daughter. These 3 branches and main body of the black blood Cuscuta provided Su Lin with a lot of evolutionary essence and pure energy, but it was still not enough. The power siphoning from the skull continued. I want to see how much energy a secret bone requires. At this time, less than half of the skull had turned into a lustrous silver, and it was impossible for Su Lin to stop. His powerful mental power flashed and he took out all the remaining black square seal fragments from the palace secret room. These nearly 1,000 black square seal fragments gathered almost all the power of the purple lynx at that time, including the souls and blood of all species within a radius of hundreds of miles. Catcha, catcha. The sound of the black square seal pieces being smashed one after another was endless. Su Lin's powerful mental power crushed many black square seal fragments, and then swallowed them into his belly. The life source, spiritual soul power, etc. contained in these black square seal fragments were siphoned over by the skull in an instant just after entering the wolf body. Under the massive energy provided by the black square seal fragments, the flashing silver fluorescence of the skull becomes even brighter. At this time, as the skull is transforming into the secret bone, time is also passing quietly. During this period, when the black square seal fragments were crushed, some pure energy also overflowed. The elite wolves around Su Lin were also protecting the Wolf King while absorbing the spread of energy. Among these elite wolf guards, time flies by. 2 or 3 hours flew by in a blink of an eye. At this time, the siphon power on Su Lin's skull gradually weakened. There were originally nearly 1,000 black square seal fragments, but now there are only more than 100 left. The rest was consumed, all turned into energy and absorbed by the skull. Su Lin's skull now has turned into silver with a dull luster. The wolves have always been called bronze-headed and iron bones. The skull has always been the hardest bone of the wolf clan, but now it has been transformed into a secret bone, which is not to mention hard. After the skull siphon energy weakened, Su Lin did not crush the black square seal fragments anymore, but placed the remaining 100 black square seal fragments into the secret room again. The first time the secret bones were formed was with the help of the power of the Thunder Sky Eagle's secret bones. So Su Lin was not impressed. He couldn't help but be impressed by the pure energy required to form the secret bone this time. These black square seal fragments, plus the branches and main body of the black blood cuscuta, are no exaggeration to say, enough for the wolves to pile up 2 to 3,000 level 15 mutants. But now so much pure energy has only gathered to form a secret bone. At this time, as the last energy gathered into the skull, and the fluorescence emitted by the skull was completely restrained, Su Lin officially opened his eyes. His whole body was boiling with energy and blood, and after the impurities were removed, his mental power became sharper and more unparalleled than before. A pair of wolf eyes opened and closed with bright silver fluorescence, and the sea-like pressure was completely released in an instant. All species in hundreds of miles felt as if a terrifying demon god was awakening. Under such terrible pressure, most species cannot even think of fleeing. Fortunately, this coercion came and went quickly. It was only taken back by Su Lin in an instant. The elite wolf clan, which was crushed to the ground by this heavy pressure, struggled to get up with great effort. Their wolf eyes looked at the Wolf King with even more awe. Su Lin opened his eyes at this time, let out a long breath, and then 3 pieces of gray news flashed in front of his eyes. Congratulations on successfully awakening the secret bone and obtaining the secret technique, Soul Elegy. Ding. Congratulations on your promotion to level 28. Ding. Congratulations on awakening your new talent, Soul Linking. These 3 gray news reminders made Su Lin look happy. Such a massive amount of pure energy will give you the rewards you deserve after being consumed. Not only did he awaken the new secret bones, but the huge evolutionary value gained from devouring them also allowed Su Lin to break through to level 28. But even though Su Lin was promoted again, he still hadn't touched the threshold of genetic transformation. It can be seen that he is still a long way from his 3rd genetic transformation. However, Su Lin is not discouraged. As he occupies the Siberian plain, he will be able to hunt and devour the genetic flesh and blood of more different species in the future. Sooner or later, he will touch the barrier of the next genetic transformation. In this idea, the latest attribute layout also appears in front of you. Name, Su Lin. Species new, Howling Moon Silver Wolf. Gene level, E. Level 28. Upgrading requires 240,000 evolutionary essences. Chi and blood, 32,850. Stamina, 2,240. Strength, 2,300. Defense, 2,160. Speed, 3,560. Extra attribute points, 350. Evolution essence, 19. Talents, concealment, B level. Soul linking ***** level. Judgment, S level. Hunting, S level. Healing, S level. Serious roaring moon, S level. Bright protection, S+ level. Secret techniques, Jinxiuan, Elegy of the Soul. Su Lin gained a lot this time. By chance, he awakened the 2nd secret bone, and his strength also increased by leaps and bounds. Su Lin's current numerical attributes have gradually become comparable to that of the giant squid he encountered back then. Just thinking about it, after a few years, the strength of the giant squid has already changed. After all, some time ago, he saw a king squid ranked 4th on the list of mutant creatures, but Su Lin was not sure it was the one he had met before. After all, the deep sea is really vast, and nearly 70% of the world is ocean. Whether it is humankind's current technological power or the strength of mutant creatures, it is difficult to completely explore the ocean. The deeper you go into the ocean, the stronger the water pressure becomes. Once he actually reaches the sea area with a depth of tens of thousands of meters, Su Lin will feel great discomfort given the endurance of his current wolf body. Therefore, there are definitely many undiscovered terrifying species in the deep sea. It's just that these species in the deep sea do not pose the slightest threat to him now. Therefore, Su Lin just sighed in his heart for a moment, and then focused on his attribute values again. He added extra attribute points to the speed value again. The speed value soared to 3,910, almost breaking the 4,000 mark. Once it starts running wildly, it will reach 1,800 meters per second, which is almost 6 times the speed of supersonic speed. This kind of speed is like a dream, and should not exist in the world. At this time, after advancing 2 levels in a row, Su Lin's fangs, claws, hair, bones, etc., have all been strengthened a lot again. The body size also increased from 38 to 9 meters to about 45 meters. As Su Lin's wolf body grew larger and larger, the elite wolf bodies guarding him were like immature cubs compared to him, only 1/10 of Su Lin's body size. This is true even if most of these elite wolves have strength attributes above level 15. These elite wolves have lost their intended role. This made Su Lin plan to wait for Vincent to fully understand the details of the mutated creatures in the Siberian plain, and then send Xiao Hui and this group of elite wolves to the front line for combat. Training them hard will also enable them to break free from more genetic shackles in life and death battles, and their strength will increase faster, whether it is humans or alien beasts. Only by experiencing life and death battles, and maximizing their potential and combat power, can they break free from the shackles in the body faster. At this time, Su Lin, who had been promoted to 2 levels in a row, after completely calming down, he howled and signaled to the elite wolf tribe next to him to find Sander and Tiffany. Although these elite wolves were no longer strong enough to protect Su Lin, there was no doubt about their loyalty to his mother, and they were even more obedient to Su Lin's orders. After hearing the signal, several elite wolves immediately turned around to look for Xander and Tiffany. Su Lin is preparing to let Xander and Tiffany enter human society again in the next few days. On the one hand, it is to bring back the mutated biological data collected by Vincent and the others in the Siberian plains during this period to prepare for the wolf pack's march into Siberia. On the other hand, it is to let them enter human society again, order and purchase a batch of supplies, especially construction supplies. Su Lin plans to find a way between the place of adventure and the current situation. In the wolf territory, build an underground air defense fortification respectively, in order to prevent mankind from using nuclear weapons to destroy all ecological environments when they are at the end of their rope. If that time comes, with underground air defense fortifications and food reserves stored in advance, the wolves will be able to sustain themselves until the nuclear radiation and nuclear pollution dissipate. Nuclear radiation and nuclear pollution may take decades to be completely eliminated before the world changes drastically, but after the great changes in the world, the mysterious power between heaven and earth not only caused all species to start to evolve crazily, even the ecological environment has undergone considerable changes. The global temperature has become lower, but the oxygen concentration has become higher. At the same time, the world's ecological environment is becoming more capable of self-regulation and repair. Even the more than 80 nuclear weapons that exploded directly in India only affected the ecological environment of that area for a few months. Therefore, with complete underground air defense fortifications, not only the defense of the wolf territory will be further enhanced, but the threat of nuclear weapons to the wolves will also be greatly reduced. In addition, the complete underground air defense fortifications can also double as a large underground cave for storing food. At this time, while Su Lin was thinking about various situations that the wolves would encounter in the future, time was passing quietly.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.